Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's Jean Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is breaking news today. And for the second time in 1 month, this worldwide topic of huge importance that literally affects everyone on Earth is completely ignored by the mainstream media. I have to jump right into it today. It's really, really that important. The G20 countries, so those are the 20 strongest, biggest economies in the world, they meet annually. And this year they met in Bali. And they just came out with an announcement today, November 18th, 2022, that they are working on the framework, and much of it has already been done, to require digital vaccine passports for all international travel. We're going to go into the news release. We put the link in the description. This is breaking news, everyone. Very, very important. We're going to dive into this topic. By the way, we're very much over the target with this. Frank Jacob and I recorded a new interview yesterday. It aired today. Links also in the description of this live stream, where we talk about this specifically in detail. You should really watch this. We were right over the target. The agreement called, and this is the G20 agreement. So again, the 20 largest nations, economically speaking, of the world, they have just put out this statement. And they cover these G20 countries usually affect somewhere around 66% of the population. Interesting number there too. 66% of the population. But which means that whatever they put in effect usually affects the whole world. So let's look into what the agreement says. The agreement called for shared technical standards and verification methods, including vaccine passports. It also commits to support continued international dialogue and collaboration on the establishment of trusted global digital health networks that should capitalize and build on the success of the existing standard and digital COVID-19 certificates. Translation, what they're saying is they want a digital database where all of your health data is in there, and that should be managed by whom? By the WHO, by the the World Health Organization. Fact checkers. That was a Freudian slip. Okay, let's move on in the statement. In a separate updated document, the G20 vows to endeavor to move towards interoperability of systems, including mechanisms that validate proof of vaccination, whilst respecting the sovereignty of national health policies and relevant national regulations such as personal data protection and data sharing. What are they talking about? What they're saying is you're going to have a digital vaccine passport on your phone to travel internationally. It won't be enough that you show a passport. You will have to be completely up to date to the standards of the WHO in order to cross a border. Now, to all of our American friends, it might not seem to sound so harsh, but I'm thinking, countries like Slovenia in Europe, a 2 million people country, very small. It's hard. It's very impossible, to not cross the border to do certain things. This is completely normal in continents like Europe to constantly cross borders. Okay, let's go on. It has been proposed that this digital health certificate would adhere to World Health Organization standards. Under the proposal, only if a person has been vaccinated or tested according to those standards would they be able to travel internationally. There it is. We said it from day one in 2020. The smartest thing that was done, one of the smartest things under the previous administration here in the United States under President Trump, was to leave the WHO and stop all funding. This is a criminal organization completely controlled by private interests. Well, let's look at why this is so troublesome. This is troublesome on so many levels. Basically, what they're saying, folks, is this is what they're saying. You are now required. When this comes to pass, and that's what they're saying they will do, when this comes to pass, you're required to put things into your body. You have no idea what they are, what they do, who makes them, because let's not forget that most of the vaccine manufacturers in most of the countries of the world have a liability shield, so they are not legally liable for any negative adverse reactions, including death, that you might experience. All the countries have put these shields into place over the years. So basically, if I am the CEO of Pfizer, here's what this really means. We're putting this product on the market, and if it hurts or kills you, the government is liable, not us. The government is liable. I'm saying if you're going to have a liability shield, you should also have a profitability shield. So you can't make profits of these products. You can only produce them at cost and sell them at cost. Well, this this would fix things in a hurry. But why is this so troublesome? Well, this, by the way, didn't make it today into any mainstream news cycle. There's plenty of alternative media sites that are now picking it up. We've been on this since this morning. Again, we discussed this, Frank Jacob and I, in our interview in depth, a lot of all around the vaccines. Please go check it out. It's in the description here. But why this is so troublesome, because less than a month ago, on October 20th, in the EU Parliament, something extraordinary happened that never made it into the news cycle. And let me tell you what this was. In a parliamentary hearing, because there is a lot of controversy around the vaccines going on in Europe right now, Pfizer's president of international developed markets, Janine Small, said in an EU parliamentary hearing that at the time of introduction, the vaccine had never been tested on stopping the transmission of the virus. Let me repeat this again. The Pfizer spokesperson, actually, she's more than that. She's the president of international developed markets, whatever that means. Janine Small, Pfizer's person, said at the time of introduction of the vaccine had never been tested on stopping the transmission of the virus. What does that mean? The only basis for this whole argument that everybody needs to get vaccinated is that you are protecting others. That was the baked in argument. That was why everybody should have done it. So you do it to protect others. When the vaccine, they call it that. I don't think we can call it that, actually, because by all definitions, until the year 2020 or 2021, this is not a vaccine. This is a different thing. But okay, if it wasn't tested for stopping transmission, then everything, poof, it's all gone. It's all up in the air, because all of the things were based on you are not going to give it to someone else. That's what they based their whole theory on. Of course, we talk about that too in this interview that's in the video description. This is the most breaking thing right now that you need to pay huge attention to, because this is something that the whole world needs to stand up against and unite against. This is it. This is game over. This is game over, because after the travel ban for everybody who doesn't comply with this, there will come other bans. When you have digital cash, which is now being implemented in many countries, when you have only electric transportation, which is also being implemented in many countries, that they're outright banning combustion-based engines, you have total control, and soon nothing will work without the green light of your digital health passport. And this is what we've been talking about. They're now putting it out there. And if the people, this is what the EU president, always an unelected, by the way, it's appointed by the Commission. The EU president, the former guy, Jean-Claude Juncker, said this years ago. He said, here's how we're operating. If we know something controversial is coming, something that might be a problem for the people, something that we really want to push through, we start putting out statements. And if there's not a big uproar, a big reaction by the public, we keep going. And every time we put we go one step closer until it's done and irreversible. And that's what he said, done and irreversible. until what we have done is irreversible. This is how they're operating. And this is not about what you believe about this vaccine, what you believe about this virus. It's not about that. Believe it or not, this is about basic fundamental freedoms. This goes absolutely 100% against all rights that you inherently have. It goes against the Nuremberg Code, by the way. You have 100% sovereignty over your body. Nobody can tell you to take medication, to have medical procedures done. It's set in stone. And this we can never allow to happen. Wherever you are in the world, you need to distribute this information to everyone you know and make them aware this is a basic human right thing, a basic human right thing, a basic human right thing. And if people are connecting the dots, what's happening in the world today, you have to connect the dots. Ask yourself, what has been new in the past 2 years? What's been new to the world? What's been newly introduced? And what has been happening in the world that's also unheard of? People call it died suddenly syndrome, right? Or sudden death, adult sudden death syndrome. Think about this. Connect the dots, people. This is important. This is really important. This is the kind of thing where you need to interrupt all of your scheduled programming, all the things that you plan to do, all the things you thought were important. This is it. This is prime time, 100% important. Nothing else matters right now than getting this out. If millions of people in Brazil, they're still on the streets, they're still pushing to have an audit and have everything investigated properly around their election. That's what they're still pushing for. We need billions of people, literally billions of people, interrupting everything that's going on right now and saying no, absolutely no. And each and every one of these G20 leaders that was negotiating this deal over there in Bali, fired. They all need to be fired on the spot, especially with all the data they have. Fired on the spot. Now it's up to you, Inspired Tribe. It's up to you, the viewer. Distribute this, share this, put this out there. People have a right to this information. The media is not reporting on it. Let's push the media to report on it. Make it such a big topic that the clowns at CNN and MSNBC and Fox and everywhere else in your respective news organizations in your country need to pick it up. Make sure that RAI and ORF and ZDF and whatever is in your country, they all need to pick this up and report on this. Report on this. G20 leaders have agreed. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, that there will have to be a digital vaccine passport for people to internationally travel. This is the headline here. Let's see what the people think of this. So, okay, here's the action mode. What would we encourage you to do? Please like, please share, please take these articles, distribute them, talk to your friends about it. Put this out there. Break the internet. This needs to break the internet right now. All right, tribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.